Hey guys, what's up? How y'all doing? Let me go ahead and make a confession before starting this video. I'm a huge Last of Us fan. Like, bro, I fangirl Last of Us like no one else, at least in my friends group. I talk about it a lot and I force everyone to play the game. Like, back when it came out in 2013, I was 12 years old and I got the chance to play it. I played for PS3. It wasn't mine, it was my uncle's because I couldn't afford one at that time. So every holiday I used to go there and play video games. That's how I played the Uncharted games, Grand Theft Auto V, Last of Us, Infamous, Arkham City and many more. Ah man, that brought back a lot of memories. Good times, man. Sorry, I got distracted a little bit. Anyway, getting back to Last of Us. I have played Last of Us for almost every console. I played the remastered version for PS4 and the latest remake. I played it on my PC. When it came out, it was a game changer. I don't think a video game had such an emotional connecting story. And the characters actually resonated with you and made it stood out, even the characters and the story itself. A lot of games tried to recreate the magic the Last of Us created, but I don't think any succeeded as much as Last of Us did. It's a huge part of my childhood and the DLC was good too. But I'm not quite sure if I can say the same about the second part. I mean, people had an extreme reaction, like it's the worst thing to ever exist. But come on, guys, it wasn't that bad. I mean, they made some questionable choices, but by any means, I don't think it's horrible. It's just a little bit bad, and they could do some work, to make it better. That's the best way I can put it in in a sentence. But yeah, anyway, let me start with why I like this game and why I'm saying it's not the worst thing I have played or seen. Yeah, let's start there. Anyway, the game didn't really shy away from what it was trying to tell you. It was brutally honest with the strong message they were trying to tell you. Can you really name a movie, game, or TV show that took a risk of killing the main character to get the message to people? You know what I mean? Like, they could have easily made a safe sequel with Joel and Ellie trying to fight zombies, or maybe even the problems they have, they could have made terms with it and got together and could have been like a safe zombie sequel, and they could have gotten away with it as well. But they chose to do something new. Plus, Ellie's journey definitely created an impact and resonated with me. It's basically about a kid who couldn't process that her father figure is not there with her anymore. And even in his last days, she couldn't spend time with him because of her ego and anger. She processed her trauma in the worst way possible by trying to get revenge on the person who killed her father figure. And in that process, she loses everything. It's beautiful, right? And what's different about this game is, like, the game very brutally explain what happens to you when you don't get over the worst thing that happened to you. You end up hurting people around you, and the power of forgiveness and letting go. Like, this game made you feel what Ellie is going through and her mindset. What I'm trying to say is the game made all the bad decisions consciously to make you feel regret and pain. Which might be the drawback of this game too, which I'll discuss later in this video. It's even sad when you think that Ellie almost forgave Joel and was ready to work things between them, but her fate was just too cruel towards her, man. Like, Ellie's psychology was explained very, very well, and quite honestly, I might be one of the very few people who is excited to see what happens to her next, because by the end of all this, I can like picture a very mature and a calm version of Ellie. Yeah, I can't wait to see it. All right, but there are a lot of things this game messed up. I have to say that as well. Like, some things were just disappointing. So anyway, now I'll talk about what are the bad things and what could be done better, and why I think a TV show would work better for this content, basically.
How'd you find us?
Alright, so I think the biggest problem of this game is the lack of conviction they had. You have to understand that killing the main character is literally the biggest risk any movie, TV show, or game can take. If you do not convince the audience or give a good reason why it happened, people will not give a shit about whatever you are trying to say. Especially when it's a beloved character like Joel, the reason why it happens, like why the death happened, is the make or break for the content. That's exactly where this game fell apart. The game took its time to explain Ellie's psychology, but we did not get to see what Abby was going through. They basically showed like montages of her crying and repeatedly telling that she wants to get revenge. What they should have done is explain the suffering and pain of Abby and what she went through and how the fireflies fell apart and the consequences of Joel's decision, so that audience will try to understand where she is coming from and they will be open to understand Abby's side, at least like try to understand what she's going through.
Do it! Do it! Yeah!
But instead of that, the game kept on giving unnecessary storylines that no one cared about. And I don't know what made them think that people would give a shit about Abby's friends when we don't even care about Abby in the first place. The whole Owen and her pregnant girlfriend and the weird fucking love triangle was boring. And the WLF story too. And on top of that, another story about a gay ball child and her sister was even more annoying. This lacked conviction. Like clearly we needed a stronger reason if we want people to understand Abby's side. Anyway, this lack of conviction created another issue as well. I don't think they did justice to Joel's character at all. Just for the shock value, he was killed in the first 2 hours of the game. I mean, just imagine after waiting for almost 7 years and his death, and he just died like that within the first 2 hours of the game. His death was not the problem. I mean, there is a reason why he died. It's basically the consequence to what he did. But the conviction and the time and place was not good at all. Like, he deserved a better send-off for sure. So I think if they work on the conviction part a little bit more, like the TV show would actually work better, is what I feel. The next point is Abby, like the character itself. So the way the story tries to justify Joel's death is basically by saying that Abby is such a good person. She's so good that she tries to save a person whom she has never met before, goes back and forth to some places to get her medicines, and get her own people killed. Bruh. I wonder how the fuck did she even survive in a post-apocalyptic world being like this. The beauty about the Last of Us universe is none of the characters are 100% good people. Like they did some shit in their days, even Joel and Ellie. I think Joel had a really dark side.
How did you know?
Know what?
About the ambush.
I've been on both sides.
That's what made them interesting and unpredictable. But Abby wasn't like that. Abby didn't have much layers to her character as much as Joel or Ellie, or even half of it. Whatever she did was very predictable and simply not interesting. So I wasn't really bothered or excited to know about her. All they tried to tell with Abby's story is she is very loving, giving and caring, which makes her a good person, so that we would empathize with her, which obviously did not work. She's not flawed like Ellie or Joel, which makes her a boring character, to be very honest, which made it very difficult to engage with her story. And top of that, the wolf versus Seraphite story. And I really couldn't take it anymore when the little shit ran away to rescue his mother and then Abby had to go and save her. Why are we still here, just to suffer? So that's another part the TV show could do better, where they could add more layers to the character and make her more interesting. Although Druckmann said there won't be huge changes from the game, which I'm worried about a lot, but adding a little more depth to the character and making her flawed and giving her another dimension could still be done, especially since the TV show might go on for another 2 more seasons. I mean, I get that Abby can be brutal. I mean, she was brutal when it comes to the revenge part, but she wasn't like a bad person. She did it for the purpose of revenge. That's why she's brutal. She didn't really have a bad side to her. Entire point of that portion of the game is to show that she is a good person, and because of what Joel did, a good person has to suffer is basically the point of that portion. But again, that wasn't interesting. That's the problem. And the next part is I think all of us can agree that it had way too many characters and they just kept dying one after the other. Every death after Joel's death didn't create any sort of impact. After a point, I stopped giving a shit. I don't care who dies anymore, which is something the TV show has to work on. The TV show definitely has to cut down some of the storylines, or else I really don't know how can they make it interesting. Plus we need to spend some more time with some characters. I really like the character Jesse, but his death really didn't create that much of an impact because he dies way too quickly and it happens like at a glance, and I didn't really have the time to process because so much other things kept on happening. Also, the lack of chemistry between Dina and Ellie was so clear. Okay, so this is a very important point. This is like the main reason why I think the TV show would actually work. I think the biggest problem people had been playing this game is that they were made to make all the awful choices even though they didn't want to do it, which didn't make people feel good. Although there were some missions like fighting the Rat King and many more missions that was fun. Overall, I don't think people really enjoyed that they were forced to do something that they didn't want to do just for the sake of a hard hitting story. Fair enough, because games are supposed to be fun, right? I feel like the fun element was definitely missing in this game. But this has a good chance of working as a TV show because now we are going to watch Ellie go through her journey and the pain she has to go through. Whatever the creators want to say, that can be said with more drama and dialogues. I feel like this would work as a drama than a game, because I personally feel like this is a TV show material than a video game material. Fits better as a TV show. We would spend more time with the characters and try to understand their psychology. Especially we can get to know about Abby a lot more, which is much more needed for this story. What I'm trying to say is basically they have a second chance to make things right, and I really hope they do, because I genuinely believe this is one of the most dark and hard-hitting stories ever made. And even though it's a revenge story, it definitely has a new take to it. It would be awesome if they could deliver it in a more interesting way where it can reach the audience. Although I'm not quite sure how are they going to pull off that climax of the game, because if Abby's and Ellie's perspective are explained with good conviction, and if both of their reasons are convincing too, then whose side will audience take on? Maybe it will divide the fan base, which is pretty fucking cool if you think about it. But again, it's very, very hard to pull off. Like, bro, I really don't know how are you gonna make it. And for now, all we know is it's releasing on 2025 in hbomax, and Caitlin Dever, she has been casted as Abby, the chick from Booksmart, unbelievable. She's a good actress, but Abby is a very intense character to play. And I have only seen her as a very soft, innocent girl, so I think this could be interesting, but she needs to hit the gym. She needs to get buff, bro. The casting has always been interesting in The Last of Us. When I heard Bella Ramsey will be playing Ellie, I thought it's going to be a mess, but she was literally perfect. Like, wow. Like, she blew me away, bro. So yeah, I'm interested to see what are they going to do with Caitlin, and yeah, let's see what happens. See you.